today I have the pleasure to be joined by Waterbottle, aka Bottle. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for hopping on today with us to have a discussion about jerseys and the Penguins, I'm guessing, and a little bit of history of you. So just say hi to all of our listeners out there.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me, honestly.
Oh, well, again, thanks for coming on. And it's great to talk to all spectrums of the jersey addiction people out there. And you're somebody that I've wanted to talk to for a while just because of your activity through the jersey community on Reddit and Discord, specifically on the R Hockey Jerseys Discord. So take us through your, experience coming into discovering hockey jerseys and how you went from 0 to 100 real quick.
Oh boy, yeah. I think kind of just starting with how I found out about hockey in the first place. I think it was really organic. Nobody in my family watches hockey. Being like an Asian woman, it's really not that common. And my parents honestly thought that when I started getting super into hockey, that I was doing it for some boy. And they were constantly asking me, like, who's the guy? Who's the guy? Like, you must be watching all this for a guy. But it was like, no, I look, maybe it was for Sidney Crosby. I saw him on TV and that was it. But I think I started off like many of us start off where I just wanted one jersey. I just thought like, everyone looks so cool in their jerseys. I just want one to go to games or just walk around like campus or something like that. And I had almost convinced myself to get like a DHgate fake. Like I had almost done it because I was looking at the photos and I was like, they look so close to the real thing. I was telling my roommate, like, there's no way I'm like that stupid to spend like hundreds of dollars on an actual jersey. Like, come on now, I don't have that. And like a week later, I'm forced to eat my words because I discovered the hockey jersey subreddit. And once I saw everyone shit talking the jerseys and I saw the difference, I was like, I really can't do this to myself. And it's all gone downhill from there.
Yeah, I mean, downhill or uphill, depending on your perspective. And I get what you mean, though. It's like, I remember when I was like, oh, my jersey, like upper limit allowance is like $65. Like, I can't believe these people like are spending that amount of money. Like, what's the deal? And these look fine. And then all of a sudden, I think I bought something like the other day where it was over 200 and I didn't even blink about it. I was just like, yep, that makes sense. That's a great price. Oh my God, what a steal. And I'm just like, wow, times have really changed.
Yeah, I think in the beginning I was what many people do, where I was going for a lot of like quantity over quality, but I was really happy with that because I loved having all these different types of jerseys that I could wear every single day. And I loved having, no matter what team it was, if I just thought it was cool, I wanted it. And it was going to be pretty inexpensive because I can fit very small sizes. So I was buying youth size jerseys or like women's size jerseys. It didn't really matter to me. So I loved that. And then I would always think like, yeah, made in Canada is cool, but maybe like in the future, it's like pretty expensive. It's hard to get. And then like weeks later, I like have it. I'm like, oh, I can't go back. Like I'm a stop now.
Yeah, no, no argument here. It's the same problem with me. I had quantity over quality. I was very hell-bent on going for 31. And along the journey, I was like, you know what I'm going to do is when it gets to the team, I'm just, at least what I'll do is I'll go for like the obscure third jersey or something. So it turned into like, oh, I'll get a Coyotes jersey, but it'll be like the original Coyote. Or I'll get the Flames, but it'll be the Horsehead one. And that made it seem like I was doing like pool ones and quantity. And then I got my hands on a CCM Authentic and I was like, oh no, this is like a gateway drug. Like there's no going back at this point. Like I can't do that.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
Right. So like, are you kind of going through this transition where you're kind of trying to purge a set of your collection and move towards like something greater?
Actually at the moment, I think that my collection is really at a good point and it has been for the past few months. I did a huge purge back in July where I sold off about like 50% of my collection. I think I went from over 40 to around or 45 to around 23 to 24. and I'm just really happy with where it is right now. I mean, I still own a lot of Indos or youth jerseys, things like that, but I'm just pleased with kind of the selection. Before I had like so many Leaf and Canadians jerseys for some reason. But now it's mostly Penguins jerseys. There's some like made in Canada that I'm like, I don't know. The stuff I have now, I'm so happy with, and I'm so content with my collection that I actually don't really have a drive for more jerseys at the moment, unless something pops up.
That's like my dream, to feel like finally content, where I can just be like, now what do I feel like doing versus now what do I need right now?
Yeah, I think the hunt for me, searching for grails, was really last year. Where at first my grail was totally a Crosby Rimouski. That was like, I was so obsessed with that grail. Now, when people say grail, I think that that's a pretty controversial term in the community, because people go like, "Oh, how can an Indo be a grail? Like, you can get that easily." But you know what? If it's your grail, it's your grail. And for me, it was my Rimouski, and I so desperately wanted one that I genuinely went up to people at Pens games and was like, "I'll give you $200 for the jersey you're wearing."
Whoa,
I
you
was
were
like,
really
right now,
desperate.
cash. Yeah, I was like, I will give you cash for that, because they don't sell these anymore on the team
Right.
store. They haven't since like 2006. So I legitimately was like, look, like if you want 200 cash, I'll Venmo you more. Like, we can do this. But I'm really pleased with how it actually turned up. I think many people
typically guys having girls come up to them, paying them money to take their clothes off would be a like, yeah, all right, let's do this. Did you get anyone to actually like follow through on that, or are they all like, are you crazy? What's going on?
Okay, the two people that I asked were actually women. They were they were like 65-year-old women, like, and they did not want to give me their jersey. I think I would have had more luck with the guy. I'm like, to be honest, like definitely like these women were like, look, this is like the one jersey that I own, and I'm gonna keep it like forever, basically. Which, like, that's me, you know? Come up to me at a game and offer me 200, I'm not giving you the jersey.
There seems to be a ton of people that really like when they zero in on their favorite player, then going as far back before their pro career as possible. I know Sask Stars fan wants to do like a Prince Albert jersey with Mike Modano on it. I've got a Patrick Kane jersey from when he played for the London Knights in the OHL.
Yeah. It's a beautiful jersey. I almost bought a Patrick Kane London Knights jersey a few months ago for about like $70 on eBay. Just to match my roommate. Right? My roommate, I got her into hockey, and she immediately became a huge Mata fan, Oli Mata. And so she has his London Knights like jersey. So
that's pretty cool. I like how you've paid it forward. You're enabling others now.
Oh, 100%. She would have never, ever gotten into hockey or even thought about, like, she resisted going to a game for the longest time. But like the first game she goes to, we go down to the ice for warm-ups. She sees Oli Mata, and it's gone from there. Like, she's done. She is forever a fan.
That's amazing. I mean, when I talk to people, they tend to say how they got into the game. And it's usually a few answers only. And the most common is, well, it was at this level, but then when I finally went to a game and experienced the atmosphere and everything that a game brings, it was like, I'm hooked at that point. What was it like for you?
My first game was actually in New Jersey. My birthday gift had been getting tickets to completely overpriced tickets to a Pens versus Devils game. And it was honestly kind of incredible. It was so much fun to be there and to experience and finally see these players in person for the first time. And I think that really actually solidified my college decision for me at that point.
So you were picking college based off of how many games you could go to easily?
No, I'm not going to lie. That is almost exactly what happened. I had other reasons. Like, I didn't want to go to my state school because I was thinking, like, all of my high school goes to my state school, and I really want to branch out and just have a completely new beginning and have new experiences. Like, I don't want to stay around here. And I'm not going to lie, it was a huge thought in my mind. Like, I'm going to go to Pittsburgh because this is where the Penguins play. I'm going to see Penguins games. And if it's good enough for the Penguins, like, it's good enough for me.
That's awesome. I just I like how your parents must have like a very warped sense of why you do things, and then if they're like, we're really aware how hockey is driving your life, like it's kind of great. Like, did you just turn on a game one day, like in your house, and were like, "What is this sport?" Or who kind of showed you what hockey was?
Yeah, it was definitely, I was just scrolling through like TV channels and I just randomly stopped in a hockey game and like instead of just flipping off as I usually would, I just stayed on and watched for a bit and I was honestly just like fascinated. I'd never actually sat down and watched a hockey game before and I was so impressed by all of it. Um, and from then on, I immediately just started like Googling it, searching up more games. And it happened to be a Pens versus, I think, Rangers game. That was like the first one I watched. And I immediately was like, yes, like the Penguins. That's where it started.
That's really cool. I think it's probably neat too from when you went to a game. One of the main things that happened to me when I started going to games is like I pride myself on playing for a lot of years so I could watch a game and follow the puck pretty easily. But there are skills on display that you can only appreciate by being in person because the sport moves so fast. Then you start recognizing, oh my God, these guys just pass the puck to a general area and there's so much of the puck that's wobbling and the sticks are like moving so fast to control it that you can't see that on TV. And it just like elevated my respect level for those guys so much more.
In terms of speaking to people who've played and who can really speak to the level of play and the quality, have you ever spoken to the Real Z?
No, I definitely want to though. He's been enjoying our holiday Christmas jingles that we've been putting out.
I have been too, but the Real Z, actually, a lot of people may not know this, but he had a professional tryout with the Rangers, if I recall correctly. Either Rangers or Devils, but he has like a jersey from when he actually played for them.
Nice. That's a much more cost-effective way to get a MIC. That's for sure. Just be very, very good at hockey. Hey, I got a game worn because I play for the team.
And it's my game worn.
That's really cool, though. I didn't know that about him, so I definitely will have to hit him up. I didn't really get to that level. I think.
Yeah, I think a lot of people may not know that about him because he doesn't talk about it that much.
You know, hockey players tend to be a little bit more humble. Not saying all of them are, but I've noticed that. That's another reason I love the sport. The athletes are more accessible. They seem to be a little bit more grounded. They're not making as much money as the other sports, so maybe that has something to do with it too. But it's cool. Like the concept of being able to approach Olli Mata seems way more accessible than trying to approach like Tom Brady, for example.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that's interesting. And so like, did people just start seeing you show up in the Discord and they were like, we will like shepherd this person towards full on addiction? And were you very like out of the gate being like, I need your help? Or were people just like recognizing and just started being like, I want to help you? Because I want you to talk about the Jersey community a little bit. I think it's a great place, and I just want your experience of what you went through.
I've been really lucky to meet a lot of the people from the Discord in real life. Yeah, so I think I've met quite a few of them, especially, like, for example, the Real Z is such a fun guy to go to games with. So FYI, if you ever get the chance, awesome.
Okay.
And especially going to Pitt, Pitt gang is real on the server. There's definitely a lot of us who are based in Pittsburgh or a lot of us who actually went to the university. So, for example, Joe, Ocelot, Entropy, we all go to Pitt. So we would hang out sometimes, especially Mike or Entropy. He lives, he was my neighbor. He lived a floor below me. So every time we had a mail day, we'd go pick up our mail days together. And then like on the weekends, we just like fuck around with my roommate and we just like put on a ton of different jerseys and just take some like dumb photos together.
I love that. I just like the idea that the dorm room hallways turned into a fashion show runway.
It absolutely was. It absolutely was. And I feel like so lucky in that I've been able to have like it's fun to share it online, but it's even more fun to have somebody in person who you can just like see their mail day in person immediately, and then you try on their mail day, they try on yours, like you're swapping jerseys around, and it just adds this extra element. Or even when we do like a little heist, you may know about some of the heists that we've had on the Discord, such as the Pitt Stadium Series practice jerseys. Those were in some random mall in Pittsburgh, and I just took a lift over there, and Ocelot showed up a few minutes later, and we just bought out the whole store. Completely. We just said we'll literally take the rack. It was like 1,600 or something like that for the whole thing, and just went back to the dorm room, start setting up everything, start getting everyone's addresses and shipping them out.
Wow, that's really cool. It's like you don't even need to get in touch with everyone ahead of time. It's like, I know this is going to be what people want, and I know that I'm the proxy that can make this happen. So just in everything you were saying, that's just awesome, because I got to tell you, like, my roommate's my wonderful girlfriend, but she grows up in a place that doesn't even get I.C.E. ever during the year. So the concept of hockey is new to her. And I can't explain to her what dimples are with her to appreciate it, right? Like to the level that just the community can. So that's why I love having people that when I am excited about something, they are excited with me. It makes it such a better experience.
Yeah, because people get it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm not alone. I found my people.
And I'm not crazy for.
No, we're crazy. We just found a lot of people that are equally crazy to make us.
The same brand of crazy.
So, I mean, which came first, chicken and or egg? Like, did you kind of become very, very into this, and then you started looking up an internship at Meigray, or was it like more?
Yeah, for sure. I pretty much kept it under wraps. I didn't want to say anything until like I even knew it was possible, because I knew they'd had internships in the past, but they don't have anything on their website regarding internships. So, you know what? I'm a big believer in just go for it. Just shoot your shot, see what happens. The worst thing someone says is no. So I got together. I actually got a trial of LinkedIn Premium so that I could private message people who worked for the company. And I just private messaged 3 people, and I said, like, hey, I'm really interested in being an intern here. Is there anyone that I should speak to? Are there any kind of opportunities? Things like that. Eventually, someone did get back to me, who I later found out was Bob Gray, who is one of the founders of Meigray.
Okay.
And he just gave me Barry Mizell. He gave me his email, and he said, email Barry. I emailed Barry basically the same spiel, except I included my resume. I included a full cover letter that I had written for it. And next thing I know, he contacts me. He says, like, you know what? Like, let's have an interview. And have an interview. It's amazing. Honestly, Barry is somebody who I firmly believe should be on so many podcasts, because he has the most incredible stories about his time in the industry, not only in the jersey industry, but also beforehand when he was a reporter. And speaking to players, like the stories he has about NHL players and who he's like spoken to, and like the experiences he had they're so entertaining. You learn so much about the industry and players that you would have never known.
Wow, that's always cool.
Yeah, and we had the interview. We had it here in Princeton. Went really well. I mean, he basically told me at the interview, like, look, I don't really believe it. I believe in being honest here. Like, you have the internship. And I was so excited. That's when I finally said something on the Discord. But I didn't fully say anything until I'd actually been to the warehouse and visited the office. And I was so happy. People were really supportive. That's
great. I mean, way to take initiative too. I think that's a great story within your story. Is if you want something, like you're saying, go after it. The worst they can say is no. Within the concept of internship, I'm thinking like, wow, they could have put you in charge of any kind of responsibilities. What were you doing for them? They don't just sell hockey jerseys either. So we're like, what was going on there?
I definitely learned to appreciate and learn just a lot more about other sports than hockey, because I did have to sort of write commercials and advertisements and marketing emails for baseball, basketball, football, golf, like all the things that are for sale there. And it's really interesting. You learn so much about how different like the NBA industry and the NBA game worn industry is from the NHL industry, and how different the contracts are, how different sales work there. And obviously the target demographic is really different for who's buying and how much they're willing to spend.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and definitely for me, my official title was basically, yes, I'm in the intern, social media manager. And that meant that I did a lot of I sent out the emails, social media posts, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, definitely keeping people up to date on what's going on. Are there any kind of technical issues like there are right now? And also making videos for the YouTube page, because that was something that I really pitched to Barry early on, where I said, look, like people love watching these videos, seeing the warehouse, seeing what's going on, especially during the convention, which I'm so sad we couldn't have the summer convention this year. I was really looking forward to it. But
right.
Everyone wants to see it, and we should be filming this, but like the YouTube page hasn't been touched since like 2007, and we absolutely need to change that.
Yeah. So you're kind of like this younger blood coming in and being like, guys, we need a facelift around here.
Yeah, definitely. Like these social media posts, we need just a little, we can make them like so much cooler, you know? Definitely.
I got to tell you, if you need more internships, I could use your help. I don't know what the hell I'm doing on social media.
Yeah, it's a skill that I think even I'm working on. I'm trying to get better at the whole thing, but it's so important, right? How you brand yourself, how people see your posts, and whether they think your post is engaging enough.
Yep. And I mean, just you're trying to convey a certain level of professionalism, and it's amazing how, you know, things like an app, if it's not user intuitive within the first few seconds, they immediately uninstall it. And as more places become available for us to find jerseys, game worns, higher end items, if you know the website's not up to par, they'll go somewhere else just because it's not fun to use. So, and like, did you go there day one and you were saying Meigray, or were you saying Meigray or Meigray, or what's going on there? I know it's mispronounced. There's a story there, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think when I went for my interview, I intentionally said Meigray because I had made sure to watch some videos where I heard Barry say, "Welcome to the Meigray group." So I desperately did not want to get that wrong. And I actually told him that, like, do you know that people say Meigray? And he said, no, I didn't realize that. Like, it's always been Meigray to me. And I said, yeah, it's because people don't realize kind of the origin story behind the name of Meigray. It's because it's Barry Meisel and Bob Gray. It's the two founders, like Meigray, connected together. So I think it makes more sense in the pronunciation when you remember that it's just the combination of their last names.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Kat, like that's actually pretty obvious once you state it, but until you know that, it's like, oh, derp. Yeah, for sure. I
think it's also because people know Barry Meisel, but Bob Gray is not really he's not really like a community figure. He's not too involved. People don't really know his name. I think kind of the story behind that is that Barry and Bob came together because, you know, Barry had all these connections and he really saw a need in the community. I think one of the best things about Barry is that he is a collector who wants to do good by other collectors. He wants to protect the hobby. He really wants to make sure that people are getting legit items. And that was a problem that he saw, I believe, in like the 80s, before game worn companies were a thing to authenticate everything and make sure that what you're getting was legit. He would say that it was known that equipment managers from different teams were just selling off the jerseys on the low, and you did not know whether what you were getting was an actually worn jersey or whether it was just some throwaway jersey that they were selling you for an exorbitant price. And he felt
everyone has a huge problem with, right?
Yeah, exactly. So he felt like, I have the connections and Bob has the resources. We could really start a company here and make sure that collectors are getting exactly what they think they're getting. And that's something that I think I really admire.
For sure. And Has the name Joe Tommen ever come up with
Oh,
your?
from J&J Distributing.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes. That man has gotten too much of my money, but but he actually, yes. If if you are aware, on the Game Worn Facebook group, sometimes they run like a monthly Zoom call where a bunch of collectors will join the Zoom call and watch one collector show off his collection. And one such Zoom call was actually with Joe, and uh, one of so Meigray works actually a lot with J&J Distributing, and I think that's something that people don't know. But like, definitely there are close ties between the groups. It's not really like a competitor thing, right? Because it's completely different industries, or completely different teams rather. And Joe, I believe that we actually send some jerseys to Joe.
Okay.
For stain removal, things like that. Definitely, the two use each other for expertise and
That's good.
keep up a good relationship with each
That's
other.
really good. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the guy is, when you were talking about Mr. Gray, I was just thinking about Joe, because he also kind of is a guy who is like, wait a minute, this is wrong. I don't want people to like get wrong things. And I also want to start creating like a proper way for people to know Game Worn's authentics. And he seems to be like pretty focused on the Penguins, but not at the same time. Like any jersey collector, I'm sure there's a team that he's like most interested in, but then there's like a whole other set there that you're just like, oh my God, you have a Game Worn Bobby Orr from the Blackhawks and the Bruins. What the hell?
If you've ever seen Joe's collection, it's incredible. Some of the things that he has.
Yep.
Some of, like, I think he has like a Montreal Maroons jersey. He has a couple of like the really, really old jerseys there. And I think what's the difference between Joe and J&J Distributing and Meigray is that for Meigray, it's like a full company. You know, it is it is a company, it's a business. But for Joe, it's a lot more of a hobby for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you can tell that from like kind of his website or his email. I mean, you're emailing his funeral email.
Right, like
for people who don't know,
yeah.
I believe he's a funeral director, and when you email him, it's like Joe Toman at funeralhomes.com. It's something like that. And
that's awesome. So it's like, is this the guy that, like, you know, I talk about in passing, I'm going to get buried in my jersey. Is this guy actually going to bury me in my jersey? Like,
yeah, for sure. I think he would actually provide that. But
yeah,
I think that's kind of like the little difference, that for him, it's a lot more of a hobby, and it's a good way for him to get a Crosby jersey every single year, right? He wins the bid for the Pens jerseys, and he can just add like a little Crosby to the collection, which is such an amazing thing to say.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I know you say your collection's pretty content right now, but you know, do you have a new grail or anything?
It's like a really subtle grail, something that I could chase my like whole life.
Okay.
But it definitely is a Crosby gamer. And it doesn't have to be like a full season gamer. I don't think I really want to drop 8.5 to 10,000, 14,000 on a Crosby gamer. But like, you know what? I could get one of his like charity warm-up jerseys. I'm down for that. Like, I would totally be fine with that. If I had the cash, like I could allocate like 4,000 towards that, and feel like this is the pinnacle of the collection for sure.
Yeah, I truly believe that somewhere out there in my mind there is a real jersey that's like, yep, if you ever got this, you can actually stop calling the next one afterwards your next grail. Like that would actually be the grail. And it's unfortunate that you and I just happen to like some of the greatest hockey players ever to have played the game, because there's no way in hell I'm ever going to spend, I don't know if you saw it, but there was a Game Worn Wayne Gretzky jersey from his rookie year.
Oh my goodness.
And it went on for auction. And the thing, when I looked at it, was already in the 600,000 range. And I was like, well, I mean,
you know what?
Never mind.
At least you're not like a LeBron James fan. I mean,
right.
I think he had a jersey.
Or a Mike Trout, you know, like that baseball card that sold for millions of dollars. And ironically, there's Wayne Gretzky. He used to own the Honus Wagner a little while.
Oh,
And then also, I don't know if you know, but a Wayne Gretzky rookie card just went up for auction recently. And it's the first time a hockey card has sold for over $1 million.
that's crazy. I mean, that's just another world, you know?
It
I
is.
am nowhere in that plane of existence where I can drop any kind of money like that. So
Yeah, there's like fuck you money, and then there's no fuck you money. And like
there's money where you have too much money to give a fuck. So
yeah. Yeah. And I'm so within the collecting that I do, I'm always like trying to keep myself relatively responsible.
Mhm.
But I mean, if we rewind the tape, I did say like less than 20 minutes ago, I used to have an upper limit of $60, and now I just don't even care that things are like 200. Yeah, sure. That's totally reasonable for this. Like I got a inaugural CCM authentic Mike Modano jersey the
Ooh.
other day. And those things are super rare to begin with. But the reason I love that jersey on the back is because a quick little history on that one is they didn't really know where Dallas or the Stars were going to move after Minnesota. So on the back of their jersey, they just have the CCM and the NHL on the bottom back right, like all authentics do. But they're like this random team that also got to put the Stars logo on the back left. And it's
Huh.
like the only jersey that has that. And it's so cool just for the history.
That's
And so I was
fascinating.
just like, yeah, I'm going to get that. Oh, also, I played with Madonna's Curve my whole career. And then all of a sudden, like all the things in my head are like, yeah, that's a reason to buy it. Yeah, that's a reason to buy it. And then it's like, now I'm so excited for that jersey. And nowhere a week ago did I ever think, oh, yeah, I'll get a Mike Modano CCM authentic. So
It's always the small things in jerseys for me, just like that. I love like the tiniest little details. And I totally relate to the whole, like, you keep on saying, like, no way I'd spend that much. And then something pops up and you don't even know what happens, but your bank account says you might have spent that much.
right. Yeah, I mean, I got the email that my reverse retro order is shipping because one of the ones I bought was customized to be Alexander Edler. And I was like super excited. And then the email also included the bill. And I was like, I'm just going to look at the top part of this email, not the bottom. That would be better.
Yeah,
Because it's
shout out to Ben H Sports for insisting that I pay with like a little advance deposit beforehand, because it really made it hurt less when the second part came in. I felt like, oh, I'm only spending like $80, not like I spent 130 earlier.
I completely agree. It was like, oh, this is kind of like paying in installments. That's nice. I won't add the two numbers together. Yeah. And you know, the other thing that I think is funny is like you have a favorite player and you have a favorite team, and that reputation starts to carry with you. And you meet all these other people that are super helpful, and then they know that your thing is a
Mm-hmm.
Crosby gamer. And so then all of a sudden, like I'm the guy that collects the Woolly Boy sweaters. So it's so awesome that everyone sends me those links
Yeah.
when they're posted. I fucking love the community for doing that. But it's also really funny because of time zones and stuff. So I'll wake up in the morning after buying a jersey and be like, all right, today I am not going to buy anything. And then I'll look at my messages and two people have sent me something
I
that I'm like,
know.
oh yeah, you're right. I do want that. And it's like, all right, it's 10 o'clock and I've already dropped $200. God damn it.
Yeah, I kind of love and hate the community for that, because everyone's just so helpful, but they're so helpful in draining the bank account.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing where a lot of people were tagging me, whether they were in youth jerseys, youth size jerseys they thought I'd be interested in, or especially for Mata jerseys on the behalf of my roommate who is not on Discord. And just like constantly getting these tags, I'd be like, thank you so much for tagging. I just feel like I just bought something and I
Yeah.
can't. I would have bought this last night, but I just bought something. You just tagged me this morning. So it's like that's kind of the best thing about the community is how helpful people can be for each other, and it's such a huge resource. I mean, everyone's so active on there that if you had a question, you could pop it in chat and somebody is bound, like 3 people are bound to have the answer for you to something really obscure. I mean, a few months
In
ago,
like an hour or two.
yeah, we were having like an argument over fucking like Dazzle twill versus Dazzle embroidery a few months ago. Like that is so niche. That is so niche. And we're just sitting there like that's a conversation to have.
Yeah, when I first jumped into like a even more specific thing on Canucks jersey collectors, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
why is how do what do you guys do that you know this information? Just like complete recall, like no problem. Because they're talking about like how the stitching pattern on a triple layer twill is slightly off because of the needle point. And I'm like, what happened to you? Like, am I like a year away from that? Like, is
Yeah,
this
you
my
are. You
future?
definitely are.
Like,
You definitely are. Yeah. Everyone starts off thinking it's crazy, and then next month thinking like, man, yeah, I do want to get it customized, but like I don't think they use the right needle size there.
yep. And it's like, oh, the perforation on those new like number jerseys, but the perforation is not quite right. Like the diameter of the circle is slightly off. I'm like, I have no idea, but I trust you. And this is why I'm here. You
It's
need to
funny
save
because
me, from these
as
mistakes.
as a community, it's funny because we've actually gotten to the point where we're so specific about how perfect we want our jerseys to be that they're not even
Mm-hmm.
accurate to on ice anymore. Like we want it to be so close to on ice, it's no longer on ice because on ice jerseys, if you look up close, actually have so many of their own imperfections on them that our perfectly customized jerseys don't compare. For example, if you wanted to create a Crosby Winter Classic like 2011 or something like that, I believe that Cutting Edge Sports customize them, and they are known for having sort of wonky customization. And if you ever see the gamer up close, it's in Meigray, you can see the stitching is so sloppy on it. And a collector would be so upset if you went and got your jersey customized and the stitches were sloppy and just like random and misplaced. But on the gamer, that's exactly how they are. That is complete to ice. That's like all over different layers.
It is. That's a great comment because I mean, the other thing that we're kind of snobbish about is if as long as it's not a gamer, we also appreciate when it's like super immaculate
Mm-hmm.
and looks like it's brand new. But as soon as it's a gamer, it's like the more wear and uglier and Frankenstein it looks, it's almost better. It's like the
Yeah.
opposite that you are after. But that's a great comment because I never kind of realized that, but it's so true. Like, no offense to any of these clubs that are making their jerseys. It's just there's a lot of other people that have made this their living. So they're also very good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is kind of, I don't know. I just love that comment. And so like when you're collecting jerseys and stuff, I'm going to pick up on something you mentioned before about like subtle details and like that. Have you learned of any that now, because you've learned, are something you want? Or you said your collection was pretty happy right now. So maybe there's something in there that speaks to that part of jerseys. Because I got to tell you, I'm that guy. I fucking love the hidden meaning or the subtle thing or the negative space. Kind of curious
Oh
where you
yeah.
are on that.
Um, yeah, there are definitely jerseys that I've bought or jerseys that I've struggled to sell, even if I don't wear them, because I just love the details so much on them. And I think something that's gotten kind of popular the past few years is the hanger detail or the inner neck collar, where there's
Yes.
like text there. I really like that, especially I think on one of the Montreal jerseys, they have like a quote from like a World War II poem, and I love that. Or
Whoa, that's so cool.
yeah, it's a meaningful poem. I think it's something like in French, right? From our hands to yours, like we pass the torch. And I
Wow.
think it's from In Flanders Field. I think that's the
Okay.
poem.
Okay,
But
that would make sense.
yeah, it's a really I think it's such a beautiful message, and I think they have it in their locker wall as well, like on one of the hallways. And something else, also in the Montreal jerseys, actually, I don't know why they're on the mind right now, but on their centennial, I believe it's a centennial jersey, where they played the game against Ottawa.
Hmm.
Um, one of the best things for me is that on that silver band on their sleeves is it has all their
The
cup wins.
championships.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
has all their cup wins stamped on there, and I think it's something that you wouldn't really notice until you see it in person.
Yep.
If you just see
I
in a photo,
agree.
you just see it like a silver stripe. But that little detail is so cool to me. I'm never selling that one.
Yeah, that's exactly why I have that in an auto. That's when I was like, what's the Ottawa Senators jersey I'm going to make or buy to get to 31? It was that one because of that detail. And
Hmm.
at the same time, though, I kind of hate it because it's like, well, you're not the same Ottawa Senators from
Yeah.
all of these championships, so you're kind of cheating. But that was a centennial thing, like across the league.
Yeah.
So it was on the Red Wings jersey as well, and so I was like, oh, okay, you're kind of doing something consistent here. But I mean, not that you asked, but I think, and because you're talking about Montreal, Montreal did a good job with the centennial. They did 2 years of a lot of jerseys honoring that club's history.
Oh yeah.
The 75th year of the NHL, at least what they did was they had every team wear a 75 patch. In the 100 year, every team wear a 100 patch. The thing I love about the 75 year is that all the original 6 teams had a turn back the clock jersey. But
Yeah.
in the 100 year, aside from that centennial situation or those games, like the league wide didn't really participate in anything. And that to me is like a huge miss. And I'm very
Oh, for sure.
disappointed.
I if there's one thing that I believe that Montreal does well is that it honors history really
Yep.
well.
Yep. So have you ever considered trying to chase down like a Quebec Bulldogs or a Montreal Maroons
Um,
jersey?
I haven't because I feel like I should focus more on like Pittsburgh and things that I really care about. Like I love like modern day Montreal jerseys, but I think I peaked at having 3 or 4 of them and I was like, I need to cut down on this.
Yeah.
I don't even watch the Canadians very often. And I don't think I would really go for something old school from their history. I'd rather go to like a collector who really has like a connection to it or loves those jerseys and would actually like pay the price for them for sure.
Yeah, that's me. I'm trying
Like,
to like I don't want like a factory made Quebec Bulldogs. I want to find a Quebec Bulldogs, but that's not gonna happen. It
that's like
probably
a
won't ever happen.
it's a
Maybe
lifelong
if I know
search.
like the Tommins personally at that point, he might have one, but it's a never ending. Hopefully I will one day, but I'm not like losing sleep over it because I
Yeah.
already assume it's never going to happen. So, um, but it is funny because when you're kind of put a jersey in that, you know, place, when it does come up, it's like the greatest day ever. Like, so I hope you're just, cruising and then all of a sudden someone doesn't recognize that they have a Crosby game and you're like, oh my
Yeah,
God, the day has come.
I honestly I need to stop looking at like old NHL like finished auctions because I believe his like 2019 or 2018 media worn jersey went for like $200.
Oh,
Like
wow.
like nobody bid on it. And I just look at it and I just feel like immense regret. Just immense
Oh,
regret.
man.
Oh no.
I have an Eric Lindros media worn Team Canada Olympic jersey, which
That
is
is
pretty cool.
that's insane. That's insane.
I just wish it wasn't Eric Lindros, but
Well, you win some, you lose some.
yeah, exactly. I was like, this is so dope and very like affordable. I didn't even pay 200. I think it was 178 is what I paid for that.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, why are not more people? Oh, because Lindros. Oh, whatever. I was like, whatever.
People are also really split about media worn jerseys. Like some of the
Mhm.
older collectors are a little bit snobby about it, and they're like, "Oh, it's just media worn. Like, who cares? I want to have a game worn." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I guess I would want a game worn, but I still love the media worn. It's still worn by the player. You can still find photos of them wearing it,
Right.
or even videos because it is for media day.
Right.
So I don't mind. That's why I really like the charity jerseys or the ones they wear for warm ups, like the specialty jerseys.
Yeah.
Uh, Other collectors really don't care for them. They just want like strictly like the gamer. But I love how
Hmm.
unique they are. I think my absolute favorite thing in my collection, unexpectedly, is my 2019 Dick's Sporting Goods like warm up that Brian Dumoulin wore. and I have it hanging up behind me, but I just love it. I think it's so much more unique than having like his regular season gamer or something like that.
Yeah. And I mean, it's interesting to see how the not just jersey, but specifically hockey jersey market has evolved over the last few years, because the concept of having like a one night appropriated warm up jersey that will then never see the light of day again probably wasn't a concept a couple years ago. But
Yeah.
because of the market now, it's like, oh yeah, I want that super obscure like mashup you did with DC shoe company and released it for the San Jose Sharks or something like that. Like that brings in a new crowd to hockey jerseys. It's like that doesn't belong as a NHL crest, like, and it's really out there, but as like a psychedelic concept warm-up jersey, like that's completely appropriate. That's where it kind of fits in. And to me, the observation I've made is it's kind of like where the NHL has come to be okay with like the AHL being a little bit more out there and wild with their jersey concepts and designs, and the NHL being more conservative and on brand and needing like a consistent look to a certain extent. They're like, oh, you need a compromise? Warm up jerseys, do those. And
I think
some
that's
of them
definitely
work
been the
out
outlet.
really well.
That's definitely been the outlet. I think in terms of Vegas, they have a little more fun with it, for better or for worse, with their jerseys. And I definitely see, for example, San Jose, when they did their series, their like local artist showcase series, I believe it was something along the lines of that, where they had like every night they had like a completely crazy different style of warm up. I think those were amazing, and I wish they did more of that, where they had like local artists highlighted by having them design a special warm jersey, and even have them, be auctioned off for charity.
100%. I mean, we talked to Terry Smith a couple episodes ago, who's the guy who designed the original Sharks logo. And he was all about doing more of this. And Terry Smith is Black as well. And he's really trying to do more with hockey in inclusion and diversity. And so the concept of him doing like a warm-up jersey that would then be auctioned off for then like the Hockey Diversity Alliance is just such a great like thing to do. So the NHL needs to allow that to happen more, I think.
I would love to see the Chicago Blackhawks have local Native American artists create a warm-up jersey. I would love to see that. After all the controversy.
I love that idea. Yeah. That's a great one. Hell yeah, man. All right. So like it's been a great chat about this. I'm kind of glad that you're also like someone who likes the subtle meanings in jerseys. It just sounds like you've got a lot of reasons to be looking over jerseys, whether it be for your team or for a concept you appreciate. So you cool with us transitioning to like your trivia and stuff?
Oh, sure.
Okay. Well, I know you're a Pittsburgh Penguins fan. It's been obvious from what you've been collecting too. And our trivia is the way they work. They tend to be centered around either the team or your player that you like. So I've got 3 questions for you. You just have to get one of them right to win a prize. The prize is usually something related to your jersey addiction. So it could be a tub of OxyClean or a patch that you're really after. I don't know, but
wow, I love that.
We're not going to like talk about prizes before you win. You got to win
of
first.
Course. Oh gosh.
And every time there are 3 questions, it's just every time the question concept, like it might be multiple choice, it might be true, false. I don't really worry about that because for you, I think these will just be fun just to check to see how far back in history you have gone with your team, because I kind of run the gamut between present and past on the Penguins. But let's start with one I think I might like take the pressure off. Okay. So and it's kind of related to what we were just talking about with the Sharks logo. So the Sharks logo, if you look at it, it has a shark and then it has a triangle behind the shark.
Right.
And Terry told us that the way that came about was to convey motion. So it looks like there's more going on with the jersey. And if you look at the Pittsburgh Penguins logo, they have the skating penguin with a triangle behind them. And so the initial reaction from a designer's point of view is, oh, that's to convey more motion on the jersey,
Definitely
which is
not.
absolutely correct. But there's another reason that triangle is there. And do you know what that reason is?
That triangle is the golden triangle. To if you've ever been to Pittsburgh, right at the point, which is like Point State Park, it's the shape of a triangle. So it references like that tip of the Pittsburgh area. That's kind of like the nickname for it.
That's right. Ding, ding, ding. So see, now the pressure's off. Now the other two aren't so bad. But congrats. That's the right answer. And I love that concept of it. And, that triangle didn't really show up for the team until like the 70s. Mm-hmm. And then short after that, in the 1980s, the Penguins go from this blue and white as their main color scheme to, in 1980, specifically on January 30th, 1980, the Penguins wore black and gold for the first time. Do you know why they switched from the blue and white to the black and gold that year?
I thought that they switched to black and gold because they wanted to match the other teams in Pittsburgh, like the Pirates and the Steelers.
Yeah, that's correct again. The specific reason too is, like, I thought that was kind of the end of it, but like looking into it a little bit closer, it was that previous year that the Steelers and the Pirates both won their championships.
They definitely felt like, if we should kind of adopt these colors, will it make us champions as well? And kind of, I think what is really special about Pittsburgh, and I wish more cities would do this, is that all the sports franchises keep the same color scheme. So I think it makes a bit of a, like, black and gold is like the identity of the city, because all the sports teams have the same color scheme. And if you go to like a Pens game, or if you go to a Riverhounds game, like the soccer team here, or if you go to even the Pittsburgh Knights esports, you will see people interchangeably wearing jerseys from the Pirates and the Steelers at the games, because it's all the same color scheme. You're here to support the city no matter what team exactly you're wearing.
It's not used a lot by like the rest of the main cities around, like franchises that exist in, Philadelphia Phillies, just, red and white, but orange and white for the hockey team. I agree with what you're saying. I think what ends up happening as to why that isn't more permeated around the league is because things, even like colors, end up getting tied to ownerships, and then it just kind of falls apart. Like, there was a big push for teal out of the Sharks because one of the owners was part owner of the Miami Dolphins at the time. So like, he wanted more like higher ups to know, oh, I own these two teams, and that through the color choice.
That's
instead of it. Yeah. So I love that what you're saying. I just know from like a business side of it that it can't be done as easily as it used to.
I think it's because this started so early with how, like, I think the Penguins, before they were the Penguins, they were the Pittsburgh Pirates. This is why, like, when people say, oh, the Bruins, like the Penguins stole the Bruins colors, it's like, well, the Penguins had it first when they were the Pirates, and they played in like the 20s.
Yep.
So they are reverting back to the original colors. And also because, like, you want to match your other teams. And as Wiz Khalifa said, like, black and yellow, that's the colors of Pittsburgh.
Never thought I'd get a Wiz Khalifa quote on this podcast, but yeah, black and yellow, black and yellow. Yep. Nice. And this is what I love about the trivia, is it tends to lead to a longer conversation about that topic. So I'm going to throw you back now into this one's trickier for sure. That's why it's last. But one of the things I absolutely love about the Pittsburgh Penguins is just, like, they have dominated league scoring for so long, because of just, who they've had on their teams throughout their history, dating back from the mid 80s to now. So Mario Lemieux won his first Art Ross trophy with the Penguins in 1987-88. And Sidney Crosby won his last Art Ross trophy with the Pittsburgh Penguins in 2013.
You can't say last. We don't know that. I mean, we do know
his
that.
Latest. His most recent win of the Art Ross trophy, I like how you're keeping me honest, is 2013-14. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about a span in hockey that is over 20 years long. And in that time period, there's only been about 5 other players that haven't won, 5 other players not on Pittsburgh that have won the Art Ross trophy. So in like 24 years, someone from Pittsburgh has won that every year, except for like 5 times. And I'm just looking for you to tell me any player that has won the Art Ross trophy that isn't named Wayne Gretzky between 87-88 and 2013-14.
Jágr, Malkin, Ovechkin, the Sedins.
There you go. That's what I wanted. Yeah, that's what's so nuts to me is like after you take away Gretzky, it was Lemieux and Jágr all the way until 2000-2001.
Yeah.
And then it was like Iginla, Forsberg, St. Louis, Thornton, like all one-time winners. And then Crosby shows up with Malkin and it goes Crosby, Ovechkin, Malkin, and then Malkin, Crosby. It was just like Pittsburgh's enjoyed so much dominance for so long. I'm jealous,
Yeah, I always think that people always give the Pens shit because, like, I mean, you can give a shit. It's fine. We can take it, cry into the cup. It's fine.
I just think it's so cool, though, that, like, you've got one era of Lemieux and Jágr, and then, like, when it starts fading out, you get a whole second rejuvenation with Malkin and Crosby.
Definitely have been super blessed with that. When you look back, like, especially I'm now looking at it like a list of Art Ross trophy winners because I was just like, oh, what are you talking about? Yeah, that's insane. I didn't realize that Gretzky and Lemieux had dominated so much between 81 and like 93 or so. Just going, I think that really speaks to the difference in the league today. You can't have this kind of dominance today, not like this.
I mean, yeah, like, because you're looking it over, it's just insane to me that from 1980 to 1990, Wayne Gretzky won the Art Ross every year except for 2, and it was Mario Lemieux. And then when you like look at the points they were putting up, like, holy shit, 1985-86, Wayne Gretzky, Edmonton Oilers, points 215. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, that's the year that he got I'm gonna try to get this right. He got his like 35th hat trick, and he was only like 25 at the time, and he had 50 goals that year in the first 39 games. That's insane.
It's such a different game.
Of all the records Gretzky has, he says 50 goals in 39 is probably the one no one will ever beat, which, I mean, he's got a lot of records I don't think anyone will ever beat, but I mean, that's a pretty good one to try to chase. But I don't know if you know, but it was not like in a 39 game span, the most he ever got was 50. He started the season that way. He got 50 goals in the first 39 games of the season. So it was like, holy shit. And that was, I just remember because I was like a huge Crosby fan growing up, and I was living in Vancouver when he scored the golden goal, and it was awesome.
I can imagine.
And like, I remember the year before that, Crosby had something like 8 goals in the first 3 games, and everyone was like fucking freaking out. They're like, oh my God, he's going to be so good. And I was like, running the numbers, and I'm like, even that being just 3 games, it's still not the pace to beat Gretzky.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like, that's just insane. Just it's hard to conceptualize how good that player is, and it's so much easier when you start needing to look at it from an era point of view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Like, goalies were smaller because the butterfly wasn't established in anything. It was all very different. So good job on your trivia. You got all 3 right. I told you you had nothing to worry about. I will throw in a bonus thing in there. I just think it was kind of cool. With you being Waterbottle, I'm curious if, and a Crosby fan, can you name the game where Crosby had a shootout?
Oh my goodness.
And he goes backhand and it takes the water bottle off the goal. Do you know what team he was playing against when he did that?
Can't name. All I remember is the water bottle just flying. That's it.
Yep.
That's the iconic
Probably
moment
the only time I've enjoyed listening to Pierre Maguire in my life.
Oh my God.
Because he just laughs so uncontrollably when he goes top shelf it was his first game in Montreal when he did that. And
look, I'm just saying, I would buy Sidney Crosby's used water bottle. I would have bought McDavid's for the meme, because like Meigray did auction off one of McDavid's used water bottles. But like it also went for $400, and I can't do $400 for a meme. Okay, like
that's like, are they expecting to swab that and create like a new?
That's what I said. There were some in the warehouse. There were like some of these like McDavid socks, and they were just like normal socks too. Like they were not hockey socks. They were like holy, full of holes, really ratty, worn out, like normal socks. And I was like, are these David socks that are on his rack? And I was like, who's gonna buy this? It's kind of the same thing when you get like a used jock that comes in. You're like, who is buying this? And I don't think we ever put that up for sale.
Okay, now I have a whole new list of questions. Is that what happened when you just like went to work? Where you just like see history all around you as like a kid in candy store situation, or was that more rare?
It is kid in a candy store. I mean, I 100% recommend anyone who's in the area, whether you're visiting New York City, it's not that far from New York City, it's like an hour or so. Whether you're visiting New York City or New Jersey, definitely make a stop by the warehouse and just walk around, because it is like a kid in a candy shop. You're so overwhelmed, and everybody acts so chill. And like, when you start working there, you start acting chill too, because you see it every day. But it's genuinely incredible. It's like you walk right in the front door and you see like a whole rack of jerseys just being authenticated that are fresh from the team coming in. You look towards the right and there's just the display case where it's like LeBron jerseys, or like Crosby's Winter Classic gamer where he like scored the shootout goal. You see the inaugural game jersey for Vegas, like from their very first game. I believe it's like Derek Engelin's jersey that's sitting in there in the display. And then that's just the entryway. You walk past Barry's office, you walk past people's office, and you see just like players' helmets and like these incredible jerseys. You walk up to like people's offices where they're authenticating, and you see things that are like privately sent in by collectors to be authenticated, and it's like Gretzky jerseys and just the most like stuff that I've only seen photos of, that like black and white photos of.
Wow.
But you're seeing it real life, and it's just like sitting on the table. And then when you finally look at the warehouse, you guys have probably seen it in some of my photos or videos that I did, especially on the Meigray YouTube channel. There are some like photos like walking through the warehouse, and you can see like floor to ceiling, just like one section is like the older gamers from like 2003 all the way up till now, all the AHL jerseys, and that's just the jerseys. I mean, you can walk through and I'll just like pull out like an Ovechkin gamer or a Crosby gamer, Lemieux, Yager, Gretzky, whoever, you could find anyone there from these incredible games. It is, I think for any collector, it would blow your mind to walk through there and just like pick up McDavid's gloves, or like there's like 3 boxes of McDavid skates and helmets and gloves and socks and all that. And besides all of that, I think when you walk around, you'll see kind of like small things or large things that are not even jerseys, but when you realize what they are, you're like blown away. Like I believe there's like you walk through, there's just like some stalls, like locker room stalls. It's like Marc Messier's like stalls. And you can sit in them
Wow.
if you want. They're just sitting around there. Like everywhere is a little bit of history. There's like a jersey there that I don't believe has been, I don't know if it's been authenticated, but there's some jerseys there where you're a fan of like the woolly jerseys, right?
Uh-huh.
There's a jersey there. It is a woolly jersey. It is full of moth holes. It's basically falling apart, and it might be from like 1920s leaves. It might be.
Holy shit.
It's crazy. It's crazy what gets sent in. Even things like from the Olympics, or like random like Olympics, like the leather jackets that they give to the players in the team or the coaches are there.
Yeah, I've got a 1994 Team Canada team issued Lillehammer hockey jacket.
Ooh.
And I'm like, I love wearing that thing. It's so much fun. It's such a ice arena jacket. Like it has like all the pockets in the front for your hands, and it's like got a rope in the middle to like go around the midsection, but it's meant to like go over whatever huge person is in it. It's pretty cool. And like, you know, the funny thing about where I live is I walk the dog wearing that thing, and no one ever is going to stop me and be like, oh my God. And that's why like I want to have the reverse sensation happen and go to the factory and just like I wonder if like people that work there see someone just like randomly standing there and like frozen in place, and it's like, oh, it's another one of those guys.
Oh, for sure, they definitely see it, and they, you know, it's just like funny to a lot of them. A lot of them are not collectors in any way, and you know, it's just like a warehouse job to them, which is, you know, how it is. And for them, they're like, look, I think these people are like, I think it's funny that they're spending this much money on these jerseys, that these like dirty used jerseys. To them, it has like no value. It's just like a job. And if I wasn't a collector, I would probably think the same thing. Like, I'd be like, wow, these people are crazy. I still think people are crazy for buying like hockey cards. And that's for me, like, it's something that I don't collect, so I don't see the value in it. So I'm just like, man, y'all are crazy if you're spending hundreds of thousands on a piece of paper. But then people think I'm crazy for spending hundreds of dollars on dirty polyester. So
Yep, it's all relative. And I mean, it's such a cool place that I think honestly, it's probably better if your employees don't have the awareness of what they're like around, because it helps with loss prevention, most likely. Because
there's
I have a
cameras
friend.
everywhere.
Yeah, I have a friend who designs the EA Sports NHL game every year, and he is the least sport guy I know. And so one time I was just talking to him, and he like was saying, "Oh, I got to go put the bubble suit on a Vander," and I was like, "Holyfield or Kane?" And he goes, "Oh, I don't remember."
Yeah, one of them.
Like,
yeah, just
all
one
right.
of them.
So,
You know it is.
but that's really cool. I mean, so I definitely want to go there. I also encourage anyone, maybe you can do this in the Philadelphia area, going to Mitchell and Ness. That place is fun.
Goodness. Wait, I will definitely do that. I'm usually not in like COVID times, but like I usually would be there like every weekend to go get like dim sum in Chinatown, and I would love to visit that.
Yeah,
write that down.
That's definitely. We talked to a jersey vendor, Twillin Polyester is what he goes by on Instagram. And before he moved to Spain, he was there, and that's how he found out what player template they were using for all of their jerseys. Because he was like, why are they so long all the time? And why are your sizes like so different? And it mainly comes down to because they use like a super big goon player to do the template off of. So I forget his name, but I know people are hating me for it.
That is really fascinating. I'll have to definitely add that to my. I suppose visiting like Jerry Cosby's in New York City.
What was that like?
I actually have never been, because
okay.
when I learned about them, they had closed because of the pandemic. So, right. But you know, they are the customizers, I think, for the Rangers and for originally for other teams.
Yeah, but they did the classic, Bruins for a bit too.
classic customizers, and I know people use them for customizing just random jerseys now, but Mitchell and Ness, I did not even realize that they were in Philadelphia so close. I'll definitely make a trip there.
Cool. I've enabled you in a whole new way. This is great. Well, thank you so much, Bottle, for being on. I've really enjoyed our chat. It's really nice to get to know you a little bit better and how you're as addicted as the rest of us, even worse in some respects, not as bad in others. And I just wish you all the luck with your continued journey towards what you're collecting. Also, your academics. I hope they go well for you.
Thank you.
Before we sign off, I like to give everyone a chance to give shout outs or a place where we can find them on Discord / whatever if they want even more pings for jerseys that they're after. So the mic is yours. Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This has actually been I feel like I've learned a lot going through. Definitely making a trip to Mitchell and Ness. But first of all, shout out to the Meigray group. Thank you so much for I'm so appreciative for having the opportunity to intern with you guys. And honestly, such a good group of people. I have nothing but good things to say about how kind and helpful so many of the employees there are. And I recommend that everybody take a trip there and check out the warehouse, because it is probably one of my most memorable hockey jersey collecting experiences ever. That it is incredible, and I think nothing compares to just walking in and being hit by thousands and thousands of jerseys. So first of all, that if anyone wants to find me, I'm Waterbottle on Discord.
Nice. And we'll talk to you again on Discord.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
All right, see ya.